Hello everyone, it's me, that divination witch. I hope you're doing well. I'm back with another witchy video. Now, this is a story time, and you'll know it from the title, you'll know it from the thumbnail, but I feel I really need to share this. I need to share what's happened to me recently at time of filming, and this video may get put out before other ones because of that. I also just want to say, excuse my eyebrows. I hope they look okay because I had an eyebrow malfunction. I've had to laugh about it or I'll cry, but I've had to draw my eyebrows on. So that's a thing, an unrelated thing, but still, maybe it'll make you giggle. I felt like an egg this morning when I was putting my makeup on. So without further ado, let's tell you the story of negative entities. Okay, let's get into it. And if you don't know who I am, hi there, hello and welcome. My name's Sarah. I'm that divination witch. I hope you stick around and hit subscribe. I answer your questions here. This is a witchy safe space where no question's a silly question. You know, I try and help everyone out best I can, remain down to earth with everything. So yeah, and I've also got a link tree below if you are interested. I've got a shop and a Patreon. If you want to get a reading from me, hit me up. I'd be so grateful. Thank you. At time of filming, I'm on the beginning of March. It's the 3rd of the 3rd when I've looked at the date. So 3rd of March is when I'm filming this. The last full moon of the lunar year was 24th of February. And I will say that full moon hit me like a ton of bricks. It really did. And I asked a lot of you guys on Patreon, like, how were you feeling with the full moon? Is it just you guys? Is it just me? Like, no, even you guys had said there was something in the air kind of thing, some weird energy, a weird kind of feeling. And honestly, I felt that since then. I've got witchy friends who have felt the same. So I do believe that some of this weird sort of feeling I've been feeling was to do with that. Full moons are all about letting things go. It's all about, you know, releasing negative energy, releasing baggage, and, you know, letting go of what no longer serves us. Full moons can be transformative when it comes to witchcraft. You know, spells to do on a full moon are things like banishings and cleansings and things like this, things to let go of the past. Your new moons are your manifestation ones. So your full moons, that's the sort of energy they normally give, and it was very powerful. Now, I will hold my hands up. I've been a very, very busy person recently. I work full time as well as do this. All my working life, although I may have had different jobs recently, I've always worked a 40-hour week, you know, full-time worker. And, you know, my spiritual practice has took a sidestep, which is not good. Especially when I'm a witch, especially when I'm spiritual and I'm posting things. I need to be protected. I need to be on top of my game, you know, and be grounded and look after myself. And that's important. We all need that. If you are spiritual in any way, not just a witch, but it's important to practice self-care. And sometimes we get lost in the muggle world. I call it muggles, but the ordinary world. We get lost in, you know, our day-to-day stresses, paying bills, having to work. Oh, you're tired. That's been my life recently, and I hold my hands up to that. That's why I'm doing this video, to share the importance of self-care and spiritual self-care. Now, you need to be sure that, you know, you're staying protected, you're staying grounded, cleansed, and banishing things on a regular basis. So this full moon came around and I felt a lot of energy shift, and that affected me. And I was going through some things in my day-to-day life, and my business was picking up here as well. I do a heck of a lot of readings for other people, and I love doing it, don't get me wrong. I'm so grateful to those of you who do get a reading off me, but I put pressure on myself to try and deliver those readings on time. I always say 3 to 5 days, but I got that many recently that I was running a little bit behind. And also some of the readings I do, like deity confirmations and stuff, I'm good at doing them, don't get me wrong, but I forget how much energy that takes out of you. I'm very harsh on myself. I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I tell you guys quite often to cut yourself slack, be kind to yourself, take your time, it's not a rush. But when it comes to me, I'm the opposite. I'm like, no, I've got 10 readings and they need to be done now, and I can't wait because then another 10 will come in and oh my God. And I might have just done 8 today, but that's only 8. Well, 8 readings if you're a genuine person, because there are people out there, who are a bit scammy, let's say. But if you're genuine and genuinely contacting 8 sets of spirits, that's going to take a toll on your energy. And it is so important when you read tarot, if you are doing any form of divination, to be protected. And I'm not saying that to fearmonger, but that's why even traditional fortune tellers, the stereotype, you see them wearing headscarves and having loads of candles and things. It's not just an aesthetic, it's a protection. They're protecting their energy, they're veiling, and they've got protections. So you need to remind yourself to do this. I need to remind myself to do that more often. And doing so many readings for people as well, it opens up quite a lot of portals, quite a lot of energy, residual energy is left over. Deities are maybe a little bit different, but because they're all powerful beings, but sometimes I'm speaking with people's personal spirit guides. I am speaking with lost loved ones and things like this. Who knows what energy they're leaving behind? You need to keep on top of your game. And I fully admit I was complacent. I got complacent with that. And that's why I'm sharing this story. In my personal life, job-wise, like I've said, I've always worked full-time. I was getting very busy and some changes have happened. I'll never ever say kind of what my job is, but let's just say it's a mundane job, what I do for now, until one day, hopefully I can do this full time. But I've took a job for the first time in my life with less hours to be able to do this. Basically like a part-time job. I've downgraded, which is a good thing. But I had all that going on and was worrying about it. You have to go to job interviews, apply for these things, and I've also had some dental issues as well, which is still happening at the time of filming. Ow. Just these muggly, mundane things. You're worrying about a job. You're worrying about, I've got to maybe get root canals. I might have to get extractions, which I might have to get a tooth out. Actually, it's this permanent dull ache and it's killing even as I'm talking to you right now. But that's a side note. So all these things were going on and I was doing readings and I was getting busy and I was complacent, thinking, I'm fine. I do this all the time. I'll be fine. When you are a daughter of Hecate, a son of Hecate, a child of Hecate, I've mentioned this before, sometimes you end up doing her work on earth, meaning doing things that she would do. And one of her major job roles is being a guide to lost souls, living and dead. Now, I see myself as that all the time, through doing readings for people, helping people out, guiding people to deities, to spirits, to spirit guides, to information, to other people. But I also have sometimes spirits themselves pop up. And, me, Mrs. Preoccupied, stressed about several mundane things, doing loads of readings, working, tired, not cleansing as much as I needed to, not banishing as much as I needed to. A spirit pops up, and this spirit was of a local man. I found out who he is. I, at first, underestimated him and underestimated the situation, because it's not the first time a spirit's popped up to me. I don't want to scare people, but sometimes lost souls do. Sometimes those lost souls are not always nice either, especially if they've died in not so nice circumstances. They can be a bit resentful, angry. I've had an angry spirit around me once before that I literally told to F off and get out my space. So I admit the attitude I met this guy with, because he seemed very angry, was like that. I said, F off, go away. And he did for a time. And then he came back. And I had to do some digging. Now, this is a trigger warning, but I kept hearing the word garrotting, which is a horrible word, but I kept hearing garrot, garrotted, garrotted, garrot, over and over, and I knew it wasn't me. It was him. And I had an inkling what it meant, wasn't 100% sure, looked it up. It's a way of execution. Apparently in the olden days, they would choke people to death with some sort of fancy torture device, but it's became a colloquialism, a word, a term that people use to say you've been choked. So I looked up some information, felt guided to do that, and sure enough, this guy, I don't want to say his name because he'll have family that is still alive, but the poor man, in the 60s, he built up his own music business within the local area, which was it was the swinging 60s, but it was pretty rare. It wasn't like we were Liverpool with the Beatles or London. So he made a good name for himself. And then in 1989, which is the year I was born, it feels like ages ago, but poor guy, he was unalived by his ex, I believe, or his ex's partner or something. He was lured down to the riverside in the city that I live and, choked. His body was disposed of in a coal heap. So in the northeast of England, there was loads of different mines, especially in the 80s, pits, mines, industry, coal mines, was booming still back then, and there was still a coal mine, and they used to have these things called slag heaps, I believe they were called, like big mountains of coal, and his body was hid in one of them in a local mine pit place, and one of the miners found his body there. So that's horrible. You were lured next to the river, on a night out. Well, that's what had happened. That happened unexpected. Then you were hidden in a coal heap, a slag heap, discarded of. So understandably, the guy hadn't moved on. And he found me, or I found him accidentally, because of going for this job situation. I had to go to a building which was near the river, that basically where he was unalived, poor man. And this is what happens. Lost souls are all around us all the time. We don't always realise, even those of us who are more open to this, we don't always realise, and I can be a bit in denial. I was so buried in my work and in my other problems, I was shutting it off, and then by the time I sensed he was there, I was rude about it, I admit, because I was a bit afraid. I've dealt with nasty spirits. I tell them, here, get out, F off. So I sat down and spoke with the guy. It took me a few hours. I meditated with him. Mother was there, meaning Hecate. She had allowed him in, and I helped him move over to the other side. Now, this is a little bit UPG after this. It took a lot of energy to do that, and I felt drained, but I still didn't bloody cleanse, did I? I just thought, I'll be fine, carrying on. Mother's let it happen, blah, blah, blah. Carrying on. Doing readings for people, doing my spiritual stuff, living my life. Later that day, it was the 29th of Feb by then. So I'm just remembering on the calendar, and it's funny because it was the day of a leap year as well, and I thought, is there something in that? Anyways, 29th of Feb rolls around. That was Thursday at time of filming. I felt like something was sucking the life out of me. I was sitting on the sofa, wrapped in a blanket, freezing cold, and I was just scrolling aimlessly on my phone. Hours had passed and I was just dozing off like this. Now, I do space out sometimes. That's just my mental health. I've got CPTSD. Sometimes I do, especially if I'm getting overwhelmed. I thought it was that at first, but I just knew there was something not right. So I was in denial. I kind of knew there was something there and I didn't want to face up to it. Always face up to it, guys. What's the lesson so far? Keep cleansing. Don't just bury your head in the sand and think you'll be all right. I don't want to scare you all, but you've got to keep cleansing no matter how experienced you are, no matter how long you've been doing this. Learn from my mistake. So I'd moved that guy on. I'd done loads of readings and I'm sitting there and I feel like there's something sucking my energy, like a dementor, like a leech. It's sucking my energy. So I rang Lauren, one of my witchy friends, who is very good at spells. That's her talent. Now, I do my own spells, of course, and I'd say, yeah, I'm all right at them, but divination's my main talent, you know. We all have our stronger areas than others, but I just knew, and even she picked up on it. You know, this is what happens. You get witchy friends, you help each other out. She was like, are you sure there's nothing there? Whew, the mood shifted, the chaotic energy shifted. Oh my word. So I had to do a banishing and a cleanse. I went all in. There was something there. And it wasn't the man. It wasn't the man's fault. But me crossing him over, me opening up that portal sort of thing, that connection between me and him. He was a lost soul, surrounded in such negativity for a long time. You know, he died the year I was born. He was 30 odd years wandering. I know time works different for the spirit realm, but still it's a long time in negativity. It attracts negative things. And there are, and I've spoke about them on this channel before, but there are beings out there, astral parasites, negative entities that they can't help what they are. They just are. But they feed off negative energy, especially negative energy us humans produce. So this thing was attracted to the negative energy and the connection with me. And yes, I had an entity. Oh, it was not nice. It's not the first entity I've dealt with, but I had to do a full-on banishing, kick its ass with my energy. And my friend, bless her, and I'm so grateful she did. She helped me on her end too. She did a little transmutation spell for me, which is basically a case of turning the negative into positive, you know, to help me out. But collectively, we got rid of it and kicked its ass. And I swear I felt so much better after. It was like a weight had lifted off my shoulders. At first, I felt a bit dizzy. You can't make this. I was just like, oh. But I did this mega cleanse, cleansing the house, cleansed myself as well, scrubbed myself with some cleansing herbs and incenses on the go, and banishing herbs and candles, and the banishing stuff as well. It really worked, I tell you that, because I have this herb mix I'd made up. I used it all then. I need to make some more. It stunk, and it doesn't normally. Some of the herbs off the top of my head that I had in there were like mustard seed and pepper, and there's some other things, but nothing that was like eggy. It was a stinking eggy smell, and it's not the first time I've smelled that when something so negative is around. It's like sulfur. It's like vile, and I could smell it when I chucked it out of my house. The herbs and everything. Oh my God, the smell. Rotten. But these things exist, and yeah, whether you are a witch or whether you're just spiritual, it comes with the job per se. Even if you are, I don't know, you know, Christian. I always compare it to them. I try not to just compare it to that, but that's what I know. But an exorcist is a job role for a reason. Now, I'm not saying what they all call a demon is a demon per se. I mean, if I was a Catholic, I might have called that thing a demon, to be honest with you. A lot of the things they call demons are the negative entities, the parasites, the horrible beings out there. You've got to be so careful when you're reading for people. I've had them come through if someone's had things attached to them and they haven't realised. If you out one of them things, so that's happened to me and bit me in the arse before when I've tried to help people and say, yeah, you've got something attached to you, you're going to have to do some cleansing and banishing. It's turned nasty on me. You know, I've had stuff thrown off my wall. I used to have this cute little Grogu of Star Wars clock. A bloody negative entity chucked it across my room. So I don't have that anymore. Yeah, these things, look, they are the true evil, if you want to say. It's not a demon like Beelzebub or something. It's an astral parasite, negative entity, and they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. I've experienced some are stronger than others. This one, I would say, was a medium size, if there is such a thing. There are things out there that are way more powerful and harder to get rid of, but this one, it slipped its way in, and the slippery little fuckers, they really are, they will get in if you're going about, you know, doing loads of readings, not cleansing, not looking after yourself. They'll find a way in, and especially if you're distracted with your muggle situations, they'll thrive, you know. So always keep on top of your spiritual hygiene. So to finish this video off, this little story time, I'm going to give you some top tips. All right, keep cleansing. All right, cleansing your space. Keep it clean. All right, yeah, I'm cluttered. I do have a cluttered space. I live in a small space, but try and keep it as clean as you can, you know, because mess and muck attracts negativity. So keep cleansing your space. You can smoke cleanse, sound cleanse, use floor washers, use sprays, use moon waters, use prayers even. You know, keep that positive vibe going. And once you cleanse to get rid of the negative, you can attract positive in, because there are positive things out there that are the exact opposite of what I've described. So sometimes like positive incenses, positive vibes, smells. Some positive incenses I like to use are like lavender, that promotes positivity. Vanilla even, it's a nice smell. And it's a sweet, nice smell. I don't know how else to describe it. So you could use things to attract the positive in. Keep yourself protected as well. You know, don't just do one protection spell if you're a witch and leave it and then say, oh, I'm fine. Spells need to be refreshed. Spells need to come in layers as well, and different forms of protection. And it's not just spells. There are other ways to protect yourself, like veiling, protecting your energy, using crystals, you know, using sigils and runes and symbols and talismans and necklaces. And, you know, there are layers upon layers of ways you can protect yourself. The way I've got my home set up, because I live in quite a populated area, I'm in sort of a bubble, you know. I see it energetically like an egg-shaped bubble. It's weird. But even so, you know, you can have all these layers of protections, but you've still got to keep cleansing. And I got complacent with that. Cleanse yourself as well. Every so often, have a salt bath if you can. Or, you know, even make up your own herbal baths. There are loads out there. Have a look. Look some up. Even a little Google. Or if you've got one of those, like the Llewellyn's Encyclopedia correspondences, they're really good. I've got a herby one, and I've got one for like everything. You can put essential oils, diluted of course, but in your bath as well, to banish things, to get rid of your negativity. There's one hint and tip I will say is genuine off that Sabrina TV show, Chilling Adventures. In one of the first episodes, she gets hexed, and when she's having a shower, it is genuine. This is something I genuinely do. I mean, I put more to it, but she was just having an ordinary shower, and she was chanting with the intention, saying, if I've been hexed today, let it wash away, something like that. but the intention in things works as well to cleanse yourself and your body. So just make sure you're on top of your game is what I would say, and don't become complacent. That's why I feel called to share this rambly little story time with you, because I did become complacent. I did, and I hold my hands up, and that's what my channel's all about. Sharing my experiences to help you guys doesn't make you less of a witch or less of a spiritual person. We all have issues. We all have things we get distracted with, we get busy with. But yeah, we sometimes need reminding of what's important and what we need to do. So keep on top of your spiritual game, guys. Keep on top of your spiritual hygiene, and don't just trust anything as well. Especially when it comes to spirits, I feel called to tell you that. Especially if you're a newbie, these trickster things, these entities, they can masquerade as other beings as well. Deities, lost loved ones, spirit guides. They'll say anything to get close to you. So be very wary and, don't just take everything at face value. Okay, so I hope my story has helped you. If you've got any questions, let me know. I'm happy to help. And until next time, stay safe, stay witchy. Bye.